having problems with the audio. Yeah, I apologize for that. There was some sort of audio glitch apparently early on in the webinar with apparently GoToWebinar. From my side, what I kept hearing was these DTMF tones, these beep 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 kind of tones that would happen, and it didn't seem to be hearing me. So I do expect that did end up working. For now, if you had a problem and you can send me an email with some more details about what the nature of the audio problem was, I'd appreciate that, because I'd like to kind of look into this. We haven't had this happen before. I'd like to make sure that it doesn't happen again. Okay, let's see. I see that Bill did find the where's the use case slides? Okay, Bill, if you're still having trouble finding the slides, email me, and I'll post that. But those are on the basic. You go to the resources library, basic library page, and that's where you'll find them. Okay. So, a question from Rich. Good to see you again, Rich. Says, if a company has a business outcomes-centric approach to software testing, are use cases easily macro or micro-engineered, and in their respective test cases more E-to-E, meaning end-to-end, or less UAT detailed, versus isolating particular system behavior confirmations? Yeah, Rich, I think that's a good way of thinking about it. Is, let's say that you're using something like decision tables, right, or cause-effect graphing. That's going to be very much focused on a specific action or a specific thing happening at a specific moment in time. Similarly, the state diagrams are very kind of fine-grained. They are isolating particular system behaviors, decision tables, and state diagrams. You're going to have them do this specific thing, and I want to make sure that this specific thing happens. So that's a good way of looking at that. And in the use cases, yes, very much kind of it's about achieving something with the system. It's not necessarily about intermediate steps along the way, though of course you are going to check those as a tester. But the use case and the testing of the use case is mostly about making sure that somehow or another the system is supposed to deliver value to a user. It's supposed to do something that the user needs it to do. Does it do that? Does it serve the purposes? So one of the ways that I like to put this is there's this concept of verification and validation. Okay, so in verification, we're talking about verifying that all the right individual things are happening, right? But validation is about, does the system have value? And use cases are very much connected to this concept of validation. Individual things could be done right, and the system could still have no value if all of the main use cases don't work. Okay, let's see. Glenda has a question. I missed the first two software testing webinars. Tell me the names of them so I can go out and download them, please. So if you go to the digital library page, so it's rbcs-us.com, and then you go to the resources button, and see at the top you'll see it says resources highlighted in black. Click on that. That'll pull down a list, and then you go down that pull-down list to library, and then go over to the right and select digital library. So that's where you want to end up, is on the digital library. And on that digital library, you will find the decision table webinar. You'll find the state transition state testing webinar. In fact, you will find all of the recorded webinars posted out there. So you can watch them from there. They're recorded WMV format, so you can actually listen to them and watch them just as if you had participated. The advantage of participating in the webinars is, of course, you get to ask questions afterwards, as you guys are doing now, which helps you get more value out of it. Also, for the webinars that count for PMI PDUs, which this one does not because it's technical, but the management-oriented ones do, pretty sure that you actually have to attend the webinars to claim the PDUs. I don't think it's sufficient to just listen to a recorded one. You'd have to check with PMI about that, whether the recorded webinar is valid for getting PDUs, but probably better off to listen to them live. But if you do miss any of them, as I said, they are out on the digital library, and certainly anybody who wants to, welcome to come along and listen to them. And if you have found these webinar that you attended to be of value, certainly, by all means, feel free to forward a link to the webinar on to the person or persons that you think would value the webinar, and then they can look at it. There's no restrictions on forwarding links to it and so forth. I would prefer that people not download the WMV files themselves and forward those along. Those are intellectual properties that we would rather not have circulating in that particular fashion. So I'd rather people go and get links. As for the PDFs of the slides, you certainly can feel free to download those for your own personal use. But again, please don't forward copies of those PDFs around. Please have people send people links and have them download them. I hope that answered that question, Glenda. Let's see. Haas asks, where are you posting today's presentation? Again, as I said, it's in the same place. It's on the digital library, the RBCS website. So should be posted out there soon, next day or so, I would hope. Also, the webinars, audio of the webinars is available on iTunes. So if you subscribe to the RBCS podcast, these get pulled down as podcast in podcast form if you subscribe. Now there are varying levels of usefulness, I think. Now, for example, today's webinar, since there was reference to the slides, material on the slides, I think it's a little difficult to get all of the value out of it. Some of the more management-oriented webinars have been stuff that iTunes format would just be fine. So it's up to you, but would encourage you to subscribe to that, because then you can catch up on some of these webinars that you might have missed, at least via audio, in your downtime in your car or what have you. That's some information from Alice here, which is good. Alice, thank you for this. She says, PMI self-study to a pre-recorded webinar is acceptable. Listening live to a webinar is also acceptable. Okay, great. Thank you, Alice. That's good information. So it sounds like if you have not gotten PDUs or you need some PDUs, and you can go out and listen to some of the PMI accredited webinars, and we just recently started doing that. So I think if you've only missed one, but the next one coming up is PMI accredited. You'll be able to tell if it's PMI accredited based on the two things. One is the logo on the invite. You'll now see the PMI logo on the invite for the PMI accredited ones, and also there's a follow-up email that goes out that will let you know whether you earned PDUs, and give you an option to go capture those. Okay, let's see. I got a couple emails, or a couple notes here from Tony and from Glenda saying there's some sort of issue with the RBCS website, getting a database error.